Hello Reapers, my name's Seth, and today we're going to be talking about the age-old question that everybody keeps asking. Is Pixark going to be free to play? Now, for those of you that don't know, Pixark is going to end up being a game that essentially is going to be the exact same as Ark. It's being developed by the same developers who ended up making Ark under a different company, but it is still the same developers. And it's going to end up being a voxel open world game where it's going to have limited world space, but you're going to be able to tame hundreds of different creatures, ride all sorts of monsters and stuff like that. There's crazy boss fights, quests, raids, and everything like that. I'm going to have another video that's going to talk a little bit more specifically about some of the other features that are going to be happening with the game, but for those of you that want to really dig deep, I've got a half-hour video where I overanalyze the trailer. But today we're going to be talking about the price. Is it going to be free to play? This is the big question that everybody keeps asking me. And I think I think most of you guys have the wrong impression. Because I think that a lot of people think that Ark is going to end up being an MMO game. When it's not. It's not actually an MMO. It's actually more like a single-player game that you can also play on a server. Think of Rust or DayZ, something to that effect, rather than it being a game where you just sign up for it and start playing it. This one, you just start playing it on your Steam account and you can join your friends and stuff like that. So there's a couple answers to whether or not it's actually going to end up being free, because technically speaking, no, it's not going to be free. But at the same time, there's a version out there right now that is. And I'm not talking about torrents or anything like that. I don't condone doing that. I'm actually talking about an open beta that is being involved. But we'll talk about that in a little bit here. So first of all, Snail Games actually owns the company now. Like they ended up buying out Ark like a couple years back already, or the company that ended up developing Ark. They're a Chinese company. They're based in, I don't know, I could check the wiki or something, but I don't honestly care, because here's the thing. If you go over to their website, you can actually see all of the different games that they end up making and everything like that. And if we end up clicking up on the tab here that goes to Snail Games, unfortunately you can see that the site is down right now. I'm not exactly sure why, but I did a little bit of research, and every single one of their games that's advertised on that webpage, you can click on, and then it takes you to a webpage that, let's just say, for example, Ark Park. I don't know if that webpage is available right now, or Dark and Light. Let's take that one for example, where you would be able to click on it, and it actually takes you to the webpage playdarkandlight.com. And similarly to that, if Ark Park has a website, I'm not exactly sure if it does, that would be playarkpark.com, right? So work with me here. Pixark is not actually on their website yet. It doesn't actually have any official postings. However, if you type in playpixark.com, it takes you to this right here. And I would say that this is probably as official as it gets. This is most likely going to end up being the URL that is going to end up leading to the Pixark website when the game actually does end up coming out. But we've got a couple really cool questions here. Most importantly, we've also got one talking about the price of the game. But let's just read some of these off right here. So they say, why early access? Pixark isn't your average sandbox survival game. We're going to introduce a lot of experimental technology and features that will require extensive testing and iterating before we're ready to ship them in a final product. We saw fantastic results with Ark's time in early access, and we're ready to once again work with the community to help make Pixark the best game possible, which means that without question the game is going to have Steam Workshop. And then approximately how long will the game be in early access? This is really interesting because, as you may or may not know, the game Ark ended up being in early access for years, man. Like, it took so long to actually come out of early access. But their plans for Pixark are, we plan on launching the full version of Pixark later this year. So either they're taking all the experience that they ended up gaining with Ark and they're just putting it all into Pixark and they know how to finish the game, or they're not going to meet that deadline, frankly speaking. So how is the full version planned to differ from the early access version? Pixark's full release will have a great deal more content compared to when it first launches in early access in March. It doesn't say in March, but that's the planned release date. We have a clear roadmap for what we plan on achieving. We'll be sharing more information on that roadmap as we progress through early access. What is the current state of the early access version? Pixark's core systems are fully functional. Our current build supports local single player and online multiplayer on both official and private servers. So what I'm going to be waiting for is, there's a site that I always use for my ARK servers. I'm going to wait until those guys end up getting Pixark. It's like survivalservers.com or something like that. Fantastic service. They charge you accordingly, but it's a fantastic service for actually having servers and stuff like that. Like, really great system. I ended up talking with them for a brief moment, telling them, you guys should have Pixark on your servers, and they said, yes, we're definitely going to do that. Will the game be priced differently during and after early access? So here's the age-old question you're all wondering about, Reapers. Pixark will be sold at a discounted price during early access period, subject to change depending on your Steam region. So there you have it. Pixark is not going to be a free game. It's going to end up costing, it's just going to end up being at a discounted early access price. If we're going to look at ARK again as the roadmap for what they're doing with this one, I'm going to say around 15 to 25 American, maybe something like that. I wouldn't think that it's going to be a full $30, and then I think after the game ends up launching, depending on how much content there is in the game, it'll probably be more like $50 to $65. So get it while it's hot, right? And then last but not least, we just have this one question right here before we end up talking about the open beta. How are you planning on involving the community in your development process? Acting on community feedback is a major part of our development process. We'll be constantly scouring Steam discussions as well as other forums, subreddits, Twitter mentions, smoke signals, and more to make sure we have a clear idea of how the community wants Pixark to develop. That's one of the things that I love about this company is ARK is a very prime example where they develop the game in the direction that players want and have made one of the funnest games ever, like, out there, all right? So now on to the open beta thing. So obviously, because this company is going to end up being Chinese, it means that you can start scouring the internet on a lot of Chinese websites and finding a lot of really early screenshots, early footage and stuff like that. I mean, I have another video that's going to come out showing all of the footage that I've been able to find so far on the game, and it's really, really interesting how they've got like an arena mode, they got a mode that's like League of Legends and stuff like that, but anyways, you don't care about that. The open beta actually did end up launching in China a while ago, honestly speaking. I'm not exactly sure, like, I don't have the website that I had before. I seem to have lost the link, unfortunately, but needless to say that the game actually does let you sign up for the open beta. However, I'm disappointingly going to report that we were not able to actually figure out a way to actually gain access to the open beta. I ended up trying it out with a friend of mine, Stratus, ended up going through the whole mentions of it. I did something very similar where I signed up for the open beta of MapleStory 2, but that was the Korean version, so it was a bit of a process. And now MapleStory 2 has the Chinese open beta, and that apparently is a lot easier to sign up for. However, Pixark is going to be something very similar in that you got to sign up for it and actually have like a Chinese address and a Chinese phone number and stuff like that, which of course you can just look online for generators, sure, because when it comes to Chinese servers, they don't actually check as much as a Korean server would. However, the only problem that you run into is that when you sign up for the open beta, you actually sign up with a phone number. So what ended up happening was my good friend Stratos tested it out where he ended up using, you know, he signed up, made an account and everything like that, and then he ended up putting in his phone number that he ended up using for the sign up and stuff. It was a generated Chinese phone number, right? And that's where we were kind of like, oh, so you're probably just not going to end up getting anything about it, because as far as we know, they send a text message or maybe they send an email through that text number or something so that you end up gaining access to the game through that text. So I don't know if whether or not, like, if you're in China, if you're in the actual region and have like a legit Chinese number, you might be able to sign up for it. You're gonna have to look online for Pixark open beta. But for the most part, I don't think that any of us North Americans or Europeans are going to be able to actually get this game rolling on anytime soon, folks. So we're just gonna have to wait for the release now. Last but not least, I do want to say that as far as all of the internet is concerned, you know, on Steam, the game obviously just says that it's going going to be releasing in March. Let me actually show you. Yeah, so March 2018. It doesn't say a specific release date. However, there's a website that I use called Keymailer, and it's kind of like an exclusive. It's a website for content creators and game publishers so that they can kind of communicate with each other in a very simple way. So what ends up happening is if you're a big enough channel, you can end up requesting these games, right? This is pretty much how I get most of my indie games for free, is I'll either request a game or the developer themselves will contact me through that website and request me to actually play their game. Now, Pixark is actually on Keymailer, so I have actually requested it, and usually Keymailer is pretty good when it comes to a release date. It actually says that this game is scheduled to release March 31st. So we possibly could see that changing as the release date ends up coming a little bit closer, because that's the whole thing too, is I have noticed, especially with Keymailer and other websites and stuff like that, that it always kind of defaults to the last day of the month when it doesn't have like a set day. However, that does not necessarily mean that it isn't going to come out on the 31st. It might, and I'm fully expecting that the game might end up being delayed, not to mention the fact that if we scour the internet a little bit here, you can see that Ark Park, which is the VR version of Ark, is actually scheduled to launch March 22nd on PlayStation VR, Vive, and Rift. So that kind of makes me a little bit curious. Are they really going to end up launching two different games within the same time frame? Or is Pixark planned to actually release a lot later, you know? But I would expect that everything's going to end up going smoothly. The game is probably going to end up releasing in March, most likely. Pixark, I mean, just because of the fact that the open beta is already on the Chinese servers, and I'm fully expecting that that's just going to end up being the version that we're all going to get. I don't know if there's going to be that many changes from the Chinese open beta to the North American early access that we end up getting on Steam, right? But in either case, folks, thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Sorry that we ended up going a little bit longer than we needed to, especially just for a price check to see whether the game was free or not. But I've been scouring the internet like crazy. I'm really excited about this game, and I thought that, you know, why not go the extra mile and let you all know all of the behind the scenes stuff that I found. So I'm going to have another video come out very soon that's going to be showing off all the new, footage that I haven't actually seen on that many YouTube channels. I don't know if people are as excited about this game as I am, or maybe they just don't know how to browse the internet as well. But in either case, thank you so much for watching, folks. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. That's also going to build up loads of my merch store. Links are in the description for that. And for the fans that want to go the extra mile, you can donate to me for absolutely free with Gawkbox. Links in the description as well. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.